G'day everyone, I'm Jackson and welcome to the first step in a journey that's all about self-discovery and redefining what masculinity really means. So today we're diving into something that's not just important but essential for any man looking to grow and evolve. This video is going to be part of a broader course where we explore how our understanding and redefining our own version of masculinity can lead to a deeper personal growth and a more authentic life. But first up, let me just share you a little bit about my story. You see, for years I was stuck trying to live up to the idea of masculinity that didn't really fit who I was. And it just left me feeling disconnected and frustrated, like I was constantly falling short. But when I started questioning those old beliefs and redefining what masculinity meant to me, everything changed. I found a deeper sense of purpose, better relationships, and a stronger connection with who I truly am. So why does this matter? Well, because the way that we've been taught to see masculinity often limits us. It keeps us boxed in and it's stopped us from being able to be our true selves. When we start to challenge these outdated views, we unlock a whole new level of potential, not just in our personal lives, but in every single area. Now, if this resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on the rest of this series. Trust me, what we're about to dive into could be the start of something transformative for you. Now, let's dive deep into where our ideas of masculinity actually come from. Now, this is something that we don't often think about, but from the moment that we're born, society, family, and the media, they start shaping our understanding of what it means to be a man. Society paints a pretty clear picture. Men are supposed to be strong, stoic, and successful. Think about it. How many times have you heard phrases like man up or boys don't cry? These aren't just casual sayings, but they're powerful messages that tell us how that we're supposed to behave. From the schoolyard to the workplace, these ideas, they're reinforced over and over again. And then there's family. The way we're raised plays a huge role in how we see ourselves. Maybe you grew up in a household where your dad was the strong, silent type. Or perhaps you were taught that it's your job to be the provider, no questions asked. These family dynamics, they often set the stage for how we see our roles as men. And then of course, the media, it's always there, pumping out images of the ideal man. Consider the movies and the TV shows that you've watched. The heroes are usually tough, unemotional, and always in control, yeah? But what does that tell us? It tells us that if we're not like that, that we're somehow less of a man. Now, I want you to think about how these influences have shaped your perceptions. So pause the video for a couple of minutes and write down where you think your ideas of masculinity have come from. Was it the expectations set by your family, the societal pressures that you felt growing up? Or maybe it was the media images that you've internalized over the years. So take some time to really reflect on this. Getting clear on where your perceptions come from is the first step to redefining them. For me, these influences were like invisible strings pulling me in directions that I didn't feel was always right. I grew up believing that being a man meant being tough and never showing weakness and always having everything under control. But it wasn't until later in life that I realized that, and I started questioning these ideas, that they were holding me back, you see. They were keeping me from connecting with others and even myself. And that's when I knew that I had to start redefining what masculinity meant for me on my own terms. Now, once you've identified where your masculinity ideas come from, then it's time to take a quick, closer look at the stereotypes that we've all been handed. These stereotypes can be incredibly limiting, boxing us into roles that don't necessarily fit who we are or who we want to be. So let's talk about some of the common ones, right? There's the idea that real men don't cry. We discussed that. How many of us have held back tears even when we've been deeply hurt or stressed, just because we thought that showing emotion would make us appear weak? Or there's the stereotype that the men have to be the breadwinner. Now, this can cause immense pressure, making us feel like failures if we're not earning more than our partners or providing in the traditional sense. And then another big one is that men don't show vulnerability. We've been taught to keep our emotions in check, to be the rock, the steady force that others can rely on. And while that's important, the truth is this often isolates us and it prevents us from forming deep, meaningful connections with others. It keeps us from being real, both with ourselves and with those that we care about. Now, I've personally struggled with these stereotypes. For a long time, I bought into the idea that I had to be the strong and silent type. I thought that admitting I was struggling or showing my emotions, it would make me less of a man. But over time, I realized that these beliefs were actually weakening me, not strengthening me. They were keeping me from living authentically and from experiencing the full range of what it actually means to be human. So pause the video and write down any stereotypes about masculinity that you might be holding on to. Which of these stereotypes have influenced your behavior or beliefs? And are there any that you feel are holding you back from being your true self? Be honest with yourself, because this is where real growth starts. When I started challenging these stereotypes, I noticed a huge shift. I began to see vulnerability not as a weakness, but as a strength. I realized that true masculinity isn't about fitting into this rigid mold, but it's about being true to who you are, whatever that looks like. And that's what I want you to explore for yourself. Let's start breaking down those walls and build something more real, more authentic, and more empowering. Now that we've started questioning the stereotypes and influences that shape our views on masculinity, it's time to dig deeper and get to the core of who we are by identifying our core values. So these are the principles and beliefs that truly matter to us. The ones that guide our decisions, they shape our behaviors, and they define who we are at our essence. So core values are like the compass that points you towards your true north. When you're clear on what they are, they help you make decisions that align with your authentic self rather than just following what society, family, or the media expects of you. So how do you start identifying your core values? Well, first start by thinking about what's most important to you. What are the principles that you refuse to compromise on no matter what? These are your non-negotiables. For example, you might value integrity, being honest and true to your word no matter the situation. Or perhaps you value growth, so you're constantly seeking to learn and improve yourself. Maybe connection is a deep value, meaning you prioritize deep, meaningful relationships in your life. So pause the video and write down 5 values that you hold dear. Think about what drives you, what makes you feel fulfilled, and what principles guide your life. To give you an example from my own journey, one of my core values is authenticity. See, for a long time, I found myself bending to fit into what others expected of me. But when I started to focus on being true to myself, even when it was uncomfortable, man, I found a deeper sense of peace and purpose. Another core value for me is resilience. So pushing through challenges and growing stronger from them. This value has guided me through some tough times, man, helping me stay focused and committed to my path. So once you've written down your values, take a moment to reflect on how these values influence your decisions and self-perception. So ask yourself, are you living in a way that aligns with these values? Or are there areas in your life where you've compromised on what's important to you? This reflection is crucial because your values are the foundation of your authentic self. So now that you've identified your core values, let's take it a step further and create a vision of your authentic self. So this exercise is all about imagining what your life would look like if you lived truly and fully in alignment with your values, free from societal expectations and the stereotypes we've been talking about. So close your eyes for a moment and imagine a life where you don't have to fit into any predefined role. A life where you're not weighed down by what society, family, or the media says you should be. What would that look like? How would you act? And what kind of relationships would you have? What would you do differently? So pause the video and write down what comes to mind. Describe your true, authentic self. Don't hold back, because this is about envisioning the best version of yourself, the one that's truly and fully aligned with your core values and not constrained by these external pressures. For me, this visioning exercise was a game changer. When I let go of the need to conform into, instead focused on what felt true to me, I started to see a version of myself that was more confident, more connected, and more at peace. I realized that my authentic self wasn't about being what others expected, but it was about being true to who I truly wanted to be, driven by my values of authenticity, resilience, and connection. So what does your authentic self look like? Write it down and be as detailed as possible. Think about how this version of you would handle challenges, how they would build relationships and pursue goals. This vision is your roadmap. It's the guide that will help you navigate life in a way that's true to who you really are, not who you think you should be. Remember, this isn't about perfection, but it's about progress. Every step that you take towards living your life authentically, aligned with your values, is a step in the right direction. So keep this vision in mind as we continue this journey and let it inspire you to make the changes that you need to live a life that's truly your own. Alrighty, so let's wrap this up. And today we've taken some important steps on the journey to self-discovery and redefining what masculinity means to you. So first up, we started by exploring how society, family, and media shape our perceptions of masculinity, and we challenged some of the limiting stereotypes that can hold us back. Then we dug into identifying our core values. So these are the principles that guide your decisions and reflect who you truly are. Finally, we envisioned what your life could look like if you lived fully in alignment with those values, free from external pressures. But this is just the beginning. Self-discovery, like I said, is a journey and it's not a one-time event. So here are some actionable steps that you can take this week to start living more authentically. Reflect on your influences. So take some time each day to think about where your perceptions of masculinity come from. Journaling about this can be a huge help and bring massive clarity. Then revisit your core values. So keep that list of values handy and refer to it when making decisions this week. Ask yourself, am I living in alignment with these values? Then visualize your authentic self. So each morning, spend just a couple of minutes visualizing the best version of yourself and let that vision guide your actions throughout the day. So this video is just a taste of what's possible, and if you're ready to go deeper and fully embrace this journey, I'd love for you to join my full course where we dive into these topics with even more depth, tools, and practical strategies tailored to your unique journey. But before you go, please make sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any future content. And if you found this video helpful, just give it a thumbs up and drop a comment down below with your thoughts or any questions, and share it with someone that you think they would benefit from it. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.